how do you really represent or position yourself in work, having this human centricity at core of what you do?
Each of us have so many surprises that can really be fascinating. And then you realize that beyond that person, beyond the title, beyond the badge, and beyond the skill, there's more human in a person than they ever share. But if you're compromising your time, and that's what I always tell people, don't sacrifice, compromise.
You've really stated a great concept here by how to differentiate between genuine connections and transactional connections.
To make this world our home and not make silos and make each of us separate. He said, don't work for the computer. Let the computers do your work.
We spend years learning how to compete, how to achieve, and how to win. But almost no one teaches us how to connect. Not the real connection that is built on trust, support, that really helps shaping how we appear in real lives. Today's conversation is inspired by something my guest recently wrote around this idea. Why relationships and networking are the very things we've never taught, yet rely on the most. So instead of breaking this article into segments, we're going to delve into real life experience, real struggles, and what it actually takes to build meaningful connections. Welcome to Human Up, Episode 4, Connecting Beyond Skills. Today, I am delighted to be joined by Raymond Pereira, someone who's been thinking deeply about how we grow and how to connect and how to appear in real-life conversations and beyond our achievements. Before we begin today, how are you, Raymond?
I'm good. How about you?
Are you ready to take a deep breath with me before we start? I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Human Up, Episode 4.
It's truly an honor. Looking forward for an exciting moment.
I am really delighted to have this conversation with you today. And what's fascinating about you, Raymond, is that not only you come from the background of IT and business, but you hold a holistic and a real passion to connect to people and all the species around, which is really difficult to find these days with all the disruption and the automation that's going on. It's rarely to find someone who's really fascinated about humans. Before we begin, let me ask you a question. What made this topic of connection versus competition feel important to you?
Well, it's a huge discussion, if it may. But the core aspect of in the world that we are in right now, where competition, survival of the fittest, the rat race of life is all that we do. Sometimes we need to slow down and build a holistic approach, as you rightly said. We need to evolve with everyone around us, whether it's humans and it can be nature itself. Because in the olden days, we didn't have such competition. We had togetherness, we had love, we had bonding. We had so much more that added value to how we grew. And with that, people survived, people flourished, and people reached the level that they wanted to. But now it's a benchmark. Now it's KPIs. Now it is numbers. Now it is where you see yourself 10 years from today, rather than living the moment and enjoying the journey. That is why this matter is so important. And I believe each one of us need to take it to the next level, keeping that connection in mind.
That is really excellent to put. I think about early days when I thought about connection and having a support system. And it takes me back to early age when I broke my arm. And I thought I just learned how to write in my left arm after just breaking my right arm. But then I realized it's the support system that I have around. It's my mom who spent the night watching over me. It's my dad who taught me how to write with my left hand. And it's my teacher who really made it easier for me at class. So the support system is really needed. That takes me to my next question. Have you experienced something in life that is revolving around this topic about connection?
Well, yes, of course. And there are many as you journey through life, different situations, whether it could be work, it could be community, it could be your own passions or hobbies that you have. For me, it all started off being born and brought up in Kuwait. It started off with the Gulf War. I was 11 years old, and suddenly when Kuwait was invaded, I was exposed to a harsh reality of, okay, we have to leave. For me, Kuwait was home. That's where I made my connections, that's where I made my friends, that's where I made my support system.
Yes.
But in the end, I had nothing. I just had one target, as per my parents, to survive. Mm-hmm. But the journey from leaving this beautiful home, that I still call home, I found out that through their journey, I met hundreds of people, each surviving in their own circles. But in the end, for me, what mattered most is how we could work together, how we could bridge our resources. The simple fact of somebody helping for food, somebody helping for blankets, somebody asking, are you okay? And we never knew them personally. We never had any competition of survival. We had a survival instinct of doing this together. And that was the first time I saw people come together. I never knew why. I was too young to understand. But when I reached India, again I saw that, where people came forward and said, are you coming from a war-torn area? I said, yes. Here you go, food. How much? They're like, no, there's no cost to it. We want to work with you. We want to bond with you. We want to make sure that you are comfortable. And I always thought everything comes with a price, but not necessary. It can't be transactional. And that's when I realized, and that was my starting point to understand how connections work, how bonds work, how relationships work, and finally, what is that holistic support system that we can build for each other. And I believe it's a lifelong journey after that. Every step I took had to be around this. And humans, as we call ourselves, we're the first to come forward if you know and understand how to build it.
I'm deeply touched about the story. It's really, touched my heart because I was born straight after what was going on at that time. But really, all the stories that my family shared with me really connect with what you just said. This also brings another question to my mind.
Go ahead.
How does that really show in the way that you conduct yourself nowadays, based on that experience that you had in the past?
Well, it's of course created the foundation for the future. As I evolved from a child to a young adult and to what I do today, I improvised on it. I focused on what needs to be done to make people happy. And when people are happy, they bring their truest form onto the table. It's no longer a transaction. It's no longer what you want from me. It's no longer, if I scratch your back, will you scratch my back? It is pure support. It's pure, I really care about you. It's pure, I really want to help you. I want to see you succeed. And as we evolved in different age groups, whether we are kids, it's more like, I want to play football. Or when we go as a young adult, what should we do as a career guidance? And we look at each other and, okay, let's do this together. Let's see who fails and let's help each other. And the same system happens even now. At work, we look at how to help each other to ensure that we grow as friends, as colleagues, rather than competing and saying, no, I did better than the other. So it's an evolution that happens. Each bond should be without a transaction. Each bond should be that I really care. And each bond should be that we work together towards the goals that we have. And it doesn't have to be one goal. At the end of the day, we are still unique individuals. But at the end, if we support each other's goal with no particular interest in mind, We grow together, make the world a better place. And that's what we all want. Support each other.
Definitely. That's all what we want. We want to make the world a better place. That actually is fascinating because you are from the IT and from business background. Not to upset any of the audience who are from the same field, but that shift, you see it rare in the business where people who are interested in actually automation and AI and digitization, how do you really represent or position yourself in work having this human centricity at core of what you do?
I will tell you an incident. Maybe I'll put it 2 decades ago, almost 20 years back. I was in this conference in Germany where a major leader from a leading company was on stage. And he made this statement, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Don't work for the computer. Let the computers do your work." I met him outside and asked him, like, can you explain what this means? Though it sounds very straightforward with what he said, humans must be the driving force for computers to support. It's not the other way around. Which means humans will always be in the forefront than IT. Now that got me thinking. That means humans must control every aspect of how IT works. Humans must define, even though it's an age of AI and automation, but at the end of the day, humans have much more than AI will ever do. Humans have feeling, humans have intuitions, humans have thought process, which we think and never say. Humans do a lot more than a normal computer does. Yes, the processing skills of an AI tool or a computer server and much more are way longer and faster. They can process so much more, but we can feel better. We can instinct better. We can do much more to emphasize on what we want to do. That's when I realized that it can't be just an IT-driven channel. We do much more than IT. We do processes. We do solutions. We fill gaps. We understand situations. When I put all of this together, whether it's IT, business, humanity, culture, tradition, I realized I was becoming more holistic in how I speak, more holistic in what I deliver, and more holistic in the solutions that come out of me in the end. And I realized they were accepted much more faster, easier than giving a pure 100% technical solution. And that's why most of my meetings, most of my discussions revolve around what do you want out of it rather than just delivering you a technical solution. And that's what I tell the audience, whether they are IT or business. Build a holistic career. Add and emphasize on building multiple layers that strengthen your core subject. IT is my core, but the layers that I have, whether it's business, humanity, and more, makes it very, very powerful. I believe everybody should do that in their own careers too.
100%. I believe the audience really resonate with that, as I do myself, being from a background of engineering and shifted to human resources with actually full intention to be human-focused, people-oriented, and help the people out there and shift away from the technicalities and really get to the real thing. What keeps us moving forward and attaining things is the connection. I really resonate with that. Yeah. And when did you first realize that being good on paper isn't enough?
That's a beautiful question. And let me tell you, in the competitive world of IT, and of course, as you said, you're an engineer as well, we keep answering exams. We keep trying to fulfill that we are still not outdated. So we are always on a race. Race against time, race against knowledge, race against how fast the world is moving. And that's when I felt that something missing. What's missing is being human. You may have all the certifications in the world. You may be certified and complying with everything that is required. Yes, it's the need of the industry. I'm not saying it's wrong. I never did. But I'm also saying you need to have a little bit of humanity in it. You need to have a little understanding how humans will accept your skills that you have. You will have to understand how to apply your skills. Yes, you can wear a badge which says, I am extremely certified. So I'm the guy to trust. But that will take time. It'll take time to open a door. But when you have that humanity approach, hey, I'm Ray, hey, I'm Mariam, let's have a seat and let's have some coffee. Let's talk about things. And we don't have to be all sales. We don't have to be all engineering. We don't have to be technical. We just want to talk about coffee. And that opens a lot of doors. And once that door opens, that's when you can talk about your skills. And that's the second door that opens. And as you keep opening doors, your relationship becomes stronger because you're not just someone who's not trying to take advantage, but you're also a person who's skilled and also a person who's knowledgeable and also a person who's experienced. So there are different layers and different doors that open. Otherwise, you're just one among hundreds who have done the same certification. You're one of the hundreds who have the same skill. What will make you stand out? Rather than just being certified, also be human enough, or as this amazing podcast of being human up, and take yourself forward. And that is where the world is heading. We need to be human enough to accept each other. Whether you're skilled differently, whether you're experienced differently, and in the end, of course, how far you can go bringing everybody on the same page with you.
This is interesting, Ray. But you know how the culture is in Kuwait? Back then, all I could think about when appearing your real self or connecting to people is family gatherings. For the guys, is probably the Duwaniya, the guy gathering. And the schooling system is built in a way, not to assign blame to anyone, but it is built in a way that you have to compete, you have to achieve, you have to win, you have to appear your best self. Even in the gatherings, you have to come and you get the top grades and show up as you are the best of your class. Now, with that being said, how to break that pattern and let people be themselves, be human, be confident, learn the real connection, the human-to-human connection. How do you think that is attainable?
It's very much attainable. Yes, I can't fight the system. The system has its ways. According to them, the system has proven its results. And our goal here is not to compete or say he's wrong or she's wrong or the system is wrong. But what you can do to attain this goal is you can complement the system. For example, if the school focuses on books, school focuses only on merit, school focuses on how much is your ranking or what's your percentage or aggregate and so on, well, if you feel that that's what's important for you, then you can go ahead. But how you can complement it is do things outside the system. One of the most beautiful things in Kuwait, which I have personally experienced, is the amount of communities that are there. Different cultures, different traditions, different communities, and also from different regions. Each of them has something to offer. Go, mingle with them, learn from them. There are communities which are involved in charity projects. Go, try it out. There are communities which is trying to save nature. They do cleanups, they talk about the seas and the oceans and the plants and the animals and so on. Learn from them. There are communities which are in adventure, from sports cars to bikes to racing and much more. Mingle with them. The more you are involved in the communities, the more you are working towards a better world. You are complementing the system. You're not changing anything. You are adding a new value on top of what is there. And that is the starting point, and that will create a spark in you to see beauty in everything, beauty in every person, and the amazing things that each person has to offer. There's something I should add. One of my own mentors told me, one of the best learning you can do is from each one of you. I could sit with you over coffee and ask you, teach me something. I could go to someone who's a teacher and say, teach me something. Each of us are born with something new. And if we share that, of course, it'll complement what you're doing and take you to the next level. It'll humble you. And especially working with nature, it humbles you a lot. And you find that peace that you can share with humans. So complement what you're doing, and that's not the end of it. Take it from there, and yes, you can attain the same goal of having a holistic development.
You bring back memories to me. While I was journaling, I was just remembering days of my school. I mean, studying and getting high grades, I was top of class. But at the same time, I didn't really enjoy the journey.
I understand.
And at a certain point in my life, I realized that I envy those who have homeschooling or farm learning. You know, those that you learn by experimenting things. I feel I was confined in the wrong space. And that thing was discovered late after I finished, probably engineering. Do you think really people discover things late of what is correct for them, the way in which they should connect, the way in which they should learn, the way in which they have to grow in the right atmosphere that is fitting to their personalities, their desires? What do you think?
It depends on you. For example, as you said, you were focused on your educational journey, you were high ranking, you were doing pretty well with your aggregates. But as you said, you were not enjoying the journey. But that comes to my original question. How are you complementing it? Are you trying out different activities? Because when you keep trying different things, you never know. You'll find that one thing out of nowhere that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a simple example. Now, my dad is a musician, and I'm proud to see how he performs. He does really well. I was an average student in studies. But what I loved is in the evenings when he would take me for his music practice. And then when they had events, I would be that kid running around, chasing things, playing with paper, throwing confetti, those little foam balls if it was a wedding. And I was just doing every mischief that was there. Mm-hmm. But it did not improve my music. I did not become a musician just because of what he did. But at the same time, that gave me an opportunity to explore.
Yeah.
And that gave me an opportunity to be adventurous. And that's how I am today, of that opportunity. Now, if he did not take me, or he just said, okay, learn your music, or go to school, I would never know that I would be adventurous. Now, luckily I did that when I was young. But as I grew in age, either opportunities were given to me by my parents, or my loved ones, or friends, or community, or school, or I tried to explore them myself, wherever I had the chance. And as I became an adult, I started trying new avenues. We always say we have a bucket list. Great, you start filling them as you age, as you grow older. But why does everything has to be a bucket list? Try something new. You never know that experiment that you had will change the way how you look at learning, will change the way how you live happily. You change the way how you look at people. There will all be a situation once that, this community, they're very aggressive. But then when you see them in their most vulnerable moment, they must be the most beautiful community ever. So go out there, experience. Go out there, try something new. And that's why humans should never be locked in. We are social beings. We want to explore. And that will take you to places, and that will help you find the right timing where you can do wonders. So keep exploring. There's so much to do everywhere you go.
So what is really networking to you, Ray? What is networking?
Networking in its broadest form is finding new opportunities, as the book says. But networking to me is growing my relationships with the community, whether it's a business community, whether it's a social community, whether it's a purposeful community. Like we have a community which focuses on taking care of cleanups. So each community is a network. Now, how strong you are with them, what is your growth patterns with them is how I look at network. When I came back after the war from India, my first job, I'll never forget my first boss. He couldn't afford me a very big salary for me. Mm-hmm. So when I went to him, I'm like, boss, I need a better salary. He said, Ray, I can't afford it, but I want to give you a piece of advice. Since you're in the Middle East, the most beautiful thing that this region can give you is amazing relationships. Try to build on that. And once you build on that, the money will come. So for me, networking became a pattern of building relationships, building connections without any transactions involved. Transactions will follow. But once you have someone or friends or a circle, a support system, that's what networking is for me.
That is excellent description of what networking is. Was there a time that you thought of networking as being something unnatural or forced?
Yes, of course. As you are learning in the very traditional system where they say, go to this conference and meet 100, share your business card and tell them I can do this and I can do that. And it was a very forced thing. And like we would look at 100 business cards and out of that, only 3 will get back to you. And we're like, I gave 100 and people are not interested. And we look at, no, they're also tired. They're receiving thousands of cards. It was very forced. But now if you looked at the virtual environment, which is LinkedIn, we have a huge following. Many of us, I personally do as well. Now that's also forced because there's people are following you for something.
Yeah.
But I started something new. I started reaching out to my network on LinkedIn. And the first thing I say, hey, how are you? Nice to know you. Since you're in Kuwait, let's meet up over coffee. And let's talk about everything except what we are good at. And it takes people back because they always feel that what they know best, what their skills are, is what they're going to talk about.
Yes.
But then you don't end up exploring. Becomes a sales discussion. It becomes, I offer this and you offer this. And that's it. And it takes me time to change that mindset with people I chat with, especially on LinkedIn. I tell them, let's just have coffee and talk about the weather. Let's just have coffee and talk about AI if it is tech related. Try to be as generic, try to be as open, and that will change how you network. And that's when people will realize there's more to networking than just trying to sell or force yourself onto the other.
You've really stated a great concept here by how to differentiate between genuine connections and transactional connections. For those who might be deceived by these kind of, connections, maybe someone is approaching them for a reason. How do they really differ about what's really genuine and what's really transactional?
It all depends on how you see the conversation going. Like recently, one of my chats I had with someone who I just connected with, I told him, let's meet over coffee, the same formula that I use. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, I saw your profile. It's great. I would love to meet. But then he became more inquisitive. What do you do? What business you have? How, why, what numbers? So I told him, yeah, we can discuss all of that too. I try to limit how much I share on the virtual screen and try to bring him on the table so that I can have a real conversation. I know that he's trying to push sales. And I'm not denying it. I'm not shutting him down. But at the same time, I realize what's his intent is. It all depends on how you communicate with the person. There are people who will message you or even meet you in real life and directly get to the point that this is what I want in return. Now, if you feel you want to continue with that conversation, it's up to you. But if you want to build a stronger bond, you can do that. It's all in your hands. How you drive that conversation. Sometimes if you feel you want to be a salesperson, you want to have something in return from that person, be direct. Tell them this is what I can give you, and you can close that connection. Maybe you feel it's not matching your vibe, it's not matching the energy, or you feel you don't want to, it's your choice. Nothing should be forced. It has to be approved by both parties. And that's when you'll get the beauty of the connection. But if it's forced, then somebody is sacrificing. Once it's sacrificing, then there will be a lot of pain, there will be a lot of discomfort. But if you're compromising your time, and that's what I always tell people, don't sacrifice, compromise. And that's when you will see a mutual involvement in that conversation. And that's when things will change.
How do you really perceive those communication when they approach you in a transactional way rather than in a way that is building connectivity first or getting to know you first? How do you really feel about it?
The world has gone to a pattern where life has become transactional. I give you something, you give me something. And when I don't get what I want, then people tend to get upset. People end up putting expectations to the conversation. People put expectations to everything they do. And when somebody doesn't get what they expect, that's when friction happens. That's when you get upset, or you get angry, or why am I wasting my time on this person? That's why you have to have a clear-cut communication. What you're expecting, what you're not expecting, what you want out of this communication, what you don't want out of this. If those clarity is clear, and if the person accepts what you're saying, things will start to fall in place. But when people hide what they are actually trying to look for, and you end up finding it, that's when you get disappointed. So I always tell people, be clear with what your goals are, be clear with what you want to share. And if you feel it's transactional, again, if you want to continue it, it's your call. If not, you can end it there. Not every connection should last forever. Sometimes they are just a passing part. Like there are people I have met for a second, just a hi, and I probably never see them again in the rest of my life. There are people I met for a coffee in Germany. I spent 2 hours talking to them, understanding, and I know that I will never see them again. Recently, I just came back from India in the current crisis that is going on. I had met a bus full of people. We supported each other in the journey. We even took care of their babies. We really helped each other. But the funny thing was we never took each other's number. So now that we are back in Kuwait, we do not know if you're ever going to meet again. So some connections are just for that moment. And it's up to you. I could have asked, hey, give me your number, let's be in touch. But we never did. It was not needed, at least at that moment. So it all depends on how you perceive where this connection is going and how you want to communicate and how clear you want to be.
It's amazing how a conversation revolves around those short moments with those people. I really can recall some moments I had during my travels. One of the best conversation I had with people I might not be in contact with, but it really comes up in my thoughts every now and then.
That's true.
And it served the moment.
Served the moment and created a lasting impact sometimes.
With that margin of going wrong with connection with people, some people shelter themselves, some people maintain a small circle. How do they get out of that circle if they want to?
True. Experiences in our life puts us in these circles. Bad experiences, trauma, many more things. Or just being you. Some people are introvert, and there's nothing wrong in being introverts. I personally used to be an introvert, and it took me a while to come out. Usually what I tell people, if you really want to explore areas of your interest, connect with other introverts who are doing the same thing. Find a common ground. You don't have to be an extrovert and be so generic. Okay, guys, I'm open. Let's do whatever we want to do. Let's go on adventure. Let's go to dance. Let's sing a song. Let's eat out. That's too generic. But if you feel that you're an introvert, if you feel that you have a very close circle, the best way is to find common interests. What are you good at? Okay, I love horse riding. Find someone out there who also have the same interest. Again, it's a trial and error. Maybe they have a very small interest, or maybe they are overwhelmingly big in that interest. So it depends on how much you want to invest your time, effort, and energy on those common interests. And once you feel comfortable, that's when you start exploring that interest. And as you grow, again, you find another person with another similar interest. And that's when you will start growing out. But again, there's nothing wrong being introverts. Nothing wrong having a small circle. People feel comfortable, people feel safe. So find common interests which will expand your safe zone, expand your comfort zone. So you're not breaking the comfort zone, just making it bigger and adding more people into that circle. It's a process. It's a step that you have to willingly take.
That is excellent. I recall back in 2024, I was just sitting in our kitchen at home, and I was thinking to myself that I need to be creating more friends. I need to connect to people. I need to join communities. I need to find clubs. And I realized that, to break the chain of being inside a small circle, all people that I feel comfortable with or selective people, I need to go and experience and be around people. So I started looking up clubs and I joined Toastmasters, and I'm honored to be a member there. Started to meet people. And then the next year after, I started to be doing the coffee talks as well, which you just mentioned in our conversation. And it really added a big difference in the way I approach people and the way I learn from them. It is an excellent way to actually unlearn what we had in the past, and through experiencing new things.
That's true. And I believe you're on the right path, and communities and people in the community should do the same thing. Explore, find what works for them, let go of the things that doesn't work for them, and move on. You're humans after all.
Ray, from your experience, have you seen anyone get affected by the lack of connection versus skills? So they lack connections and have skills. Have you seen or experienced anything like that?
Well, I'll be honest with you, yes. I myself was one of them. Being an IT guy and being in the industry for approximately 30 plus years, where I am today is because of connections. What has happened is I'm not going to brag about it, but being very good at what I do, I felt that's enough. I would sit for hours stuck in a room, short pants, slippers, and all I would do is type my heart away. Coding, programming, trying new things, getting into cybersecurity, doing stuff. And I'm like, why do I care about the world? I was happy, and I said, my certification is going to give me X amount of income. I did get what I want. But I felt I was not growing.
Yeah.
Because the world said, Ray's good at what he does, let him be there. While the world evolved, I was stuck there doing the same thing for a good 10, 15 years. Until one of my previous managers, he met me and he said, okay, Ray, I need you to stop doing this. I need you to come up to the top floor of the building. I want you to be exposed to people. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to meet people. I'm happy where I am. He said, you may be happy, but I don't see you growing to the next level. You have reached a saturation point. And that's when I realized in our careers, we do reach a saturation point and we feel there's nothing more that the industry can give us.
Yeah.
Yes, we may have more energy, we have more time, we are not old, we can do more, but the industry are like, okay, you're overqualified. And that's when I feel people tend to get stuck. When the industry says you are overqualified and we cannot hire you. And that's when I felt having this connection with people, and I'm not talking about connection as godfathers, I'm talking about connection as something that you are valuable in the lives of people and people are valuable in your lives, and there's this mutual growth that they can take you to the next level. Many times I see people who are retired and they say, I worked for 30, 40, 50 years, but now people say I'm overqualified. I don't have another future. Yes, I'm old. And that's when I tell them, okay, you're a consultant in your last job. I have a suggestion. Why don't you offer your services to an orphanage. Try to build up something there so that people can see what you're doing for the good of the community. And from there, you will grow and you will be accepted again. Mm-hmm. So yes, people do get saturated because they are overskilled. People get saturated because they don't want to explore themselves. People do get saturated because they don't want to go to the next level of their lives, or they do not know how to go to the next level of their life. So these beautiful little connections can take you there. And they can take you to a point that it can even create a legacy. That even tomorrow, after you're no longer in this world, gone for the heavens, people will still remember you. Like the different mentors that we have, leaders that we still talk about in school, and they did something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why they still remember till today. So yes, people do get stuck. People can get stuck. People are unaware that they are stuck. And that's why connections can change everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Ray, since I studied abroad and I came from New Zealand after 7 years, I thought to myself that everything has changed since all my friends been abroad, and I was just on the verge of finding a job for myself. And it was quite difficult because I see people around having connections, networking, and doing these kind of things. So I really resonate with those people who are learning to find jobs or connect, but they don't know the right way. Mm. So I resonate with them. That being said, what is really beneficial, or what is considered beneficial connection relationship that really aids into someone's growth or into finding the right path, the right career, or something like that? What is the right path?
Well, it starts by being humble. You ask for help. Ask whom? Reach out to social media, which is very popular nowadays, and ask for leaders who are in the industry. Yes, out of 10 people you ask, you may get 5 no's. You may get 3, I'm not sure. But you may get 2 or even 1 yes. Reach out to them and say, "Here, I want to do this thing. I want to learn more. I want to understand the industry. I want to understand what I am capable of." You will get some feedback. Now, you don't have to apply the feedback. "Oh, this person told me this and this is what I'm going to do." You build on it. You keep asking for more people's feedback, and then you see what works around and where that people can guide you. Some people will just give you feedback. Do this. Some people will say, "Let me see what you're capable of." Some people will say, "Hey, you know what? I know somebody who can open a door for you." Mm-hmm. And you don't have to know them well. They don't have to be your godfathers. They don't have to be anything that they want in return. So keep asking. As you brought up Toastmasters earlier, I remember this Toastmaster. He's a Middle East public speaking champion. Mm-hmm. He has one speech where he says, "Never stop picking." Where he clearly said, keep picking on every door, every opportunity, every question that somebody is going to show you the way. You can go for an event and don't speak a word. People will observe you. You can go for a charity and don't say a word. People will observe it. But if once you start asking, that's when people will come forward. End of the day, we need to communicate. And communication is the key to everything. But to do that, you have to humble yourself. You don't have to have that ego, no. Ego can be 2 ways. It can be something that you have too much pride, or ego is, what if somebody judges me and makes me look bad? You're not losing anything. The worst you can get is a no. And that's it. Nothing else can go wrong. So try that. It's a huge ocean out there. Opportunities are everywhere. Keep asking. And there are good people, a lot of good people in this world that are willing to help. Mm. If not today, definitely 10 days from today. So keep asking. And I believe that can happen.
This is correct. There is a quote from the book, The Horse, the Boy, the Fox, where the horse said to the boy, "You know, what is the bravest things I asked for?" And then he said to the boy asked him, what is it? He said, help. So asking for help could be the bravest and could be the hardest. For those who find it hard to really ask for help or indulge into connection of that way, what would you tell them? What is a simple way to ask for help but yet not feeling uncomfortable about it?
Well, if you can't if you can't say the word help, the next thing you can do is observe. Observe people. Don't stalk them, but observe them from a corner and see if they can match your vibe. See if they are humble enough to reach out. Keep looking. And with the advent of social media, there's so much of self-help videos. And I'm not expecting you all to do that, but if you can get into the real world, when you go for different community events, when you go for all that is happening around you, you read and you follow great authors, great mentors, great leaders, and that you take them for and you educate yourself with what's happening in their lives, they become an inspiration. So through observing people, you will find that someone or a group that can encourage you to ask for help. So you need that spark or the catalyst, or you need that push. So instead of coming from you, someone creates it for you. So observe, follow, read, and you will have someone that will spark it for you.
And it doesn't have to be perfect from the first time.
Doesn't have to be
go
perfect.
wrong. We could
We are
get
humans. We make
rejected,
mistakes.
and we could make mistakes. Yes.
You can make terrible mistakes, but you shouldn't give up. Keep going till you succeed.
We should be merciful with ourselves. That is really
That's true.
rightly said. What makes someone memorable after a conversation?
How you made them feel,
Yeah.
number one. What value of our conversations had. Did it impact a certain area that you probably was looking for comfort, validation, so many things that we need. And that becomes memory. You start remembering the person's conversation when you are driving. You start remembering an incident at that event. You start remembering, and what makes it stronger is when you end up sharing it again with a completely different person. Hey, I went for this event and this thing touched me. And it's not a memory, but also becomes something to share, something very personal that you feel now can impact someone else's life. So yes, there's a lot of things that can happen, but you have to keep an open mind and you have to keep an open heart to understand that this is what's happening and it can really, really help me.
That's really excellent how you shared that we capture something from our conversation and build on it with a second conversation and maybe bring about the name of the person also and help connecting. That really brings me to my next question, which is how to take small steps to build meaningful connection.
The first step, of course, is to take the effort. Without the effort, it's forced. Second, it's consent. Both parties or the community that you are in should accept you and you should accept them as well. 3, keep an open mind. When you keep an open mind and you do not close your mind to ideas, to suggestions, to recommendations, again, you don't have to take it and accept it like, this is what they told me. You listen from it, you learn from it. You choose what to accept. You have to protect yourself too. But at the same time, you learn from everything that happens around you. So it all starts by taking the effort. It all starts by being there, and it all starts by listening. Another very vital thing that most of us don't do is listen. It's either my way or the highway. But when you listen, sometimes you see the truth in it. And then it comes to pause and ponder after listening. Maybe she was right. Or maybe he was right. But why did he come to that point? Oh. And then when you get the idea, you ask again if you want to clarify. You ask again if you want to say something and get another clarification. So the whole communication is the important element to make this happen. There are different steps, but it all starts with the effort. If you are not having the effort, then the others won't. They don't get empowered, they don't get encouraged, and they don't get excited. That's how it works.
And what do you find really fascinating about connection in general with people?
The first thing that I see fascinating, or I feel fascinated about, is how surprised people are. We all have an image that we portray. We all have a brand. We all have some sort of vision that we want to show. Oh, Ray, the IT guy. Mariam, the engineer. So we all have these tags. But when we start seeing people behind these personas, we find that, oh, they're really nice. Or they're really exciting. Oh, they have a new skill. Or this one can sing so well. Or this one can paint and be an artist. Or this one loves animals and has 10 cats at home. Each of us have so many surprises that can really be fascinating. And then you realize that beyond that person, beyond the title, beyond the badge, and beyond the skill, there's more human in a person than they ever share. And that happens only when you connect and build a connection, that you realize beyond the whole description that we have on paper, there's much more that meets the eye.
100%. Beyond the attire, beyond the facade, there lies a human that is yet to be discovered. And it's funny thing that I'm always been mistaken to be a serious person, although after a couple of days of knowing me, they say that you're friendly. Oh, wow, you do this.
Exactly.
You play taekwondo. Oh, wow.
And that's the beauty of it. When you start exploring people, that beyond this, there are much more. You're like, wow, I never knew that you were doing this. And that makes the bond stronger. And that makes the connection stronger. And that's when you realize they're more talented than ever known. And that's why they say God gives us a lot of gifts, but we hide them. We don't showcase them. We don't tell the world that this is what God gave us. Why not? And that can happen through an open conversation.
Bringing you back to the article that we started the conversation with, you've mentioned a lot of stuff about connecting to nature,
Yes.
to species, to animals in general, to the ecosystem and the support system that we have in general. Talk to me about it. I am really intrigued. I want to know more, and I want the audience to know more about it. What really was the driver behind you writing about these stuff?
This is something that has happened in my apartment in Kuwait, where I stay. I love plants. So I grow plants in different pots. And I realized that even though the plant is growing pretty well, I wanted to create a jungle environment. So I got this really long pot, like it's rectangle, but a very long rectangle. And instead of having separate pots for each plant, I decided to take all of them and just put them into one pot. And I called it My Jungle at Home. So it was crowded. Every plant was initially fighting for their space, for their resources, for food and water and so on. But gradually, I noticed there was a synergy that happened. The bigger plants that grew suddenly tall started protecting the plants that were below them in their roots. And the below plants that were in the root started creating moisture to feed the bigger plants. They all started supporting each other. Today, that spot in my apartment is flourishing. And it's been almost, let's say, 4 years since I have that, and it is doing so well. And I keep fertilizing it, I keep adding more things, I keep trimming the leaves, but the plants adapt so well. And that's what I learned from nature, that when we are all together as a community, we're all together supporting each other, we make a beautiful place. And that's what I've learned from nature itself, that nature is our biggest advisor, but we fail to take it from them. So why not? And the same thing happens with animals and different species from everywhere. They all work together to create the perfect ecosystem. Everybody contributing for each. And that's when I started getting into science, just for knowledge that even the whales in the sea, the different fishes, the amount of ecosystem that is down under in the sea, all contribute for a bigger cause. And we are all here to make this world our home and not make silos and make each of us separate. And that's the beauty of it. And that's how I realized the synergy between the natural kingdom and humans. We have a lot to learn from them.
Not to challenge the concept that you just mentioned, but just thinking, a thought that crossed my head. Can someone really grow solo? Or they need to network?
People can grow solo. There are great leaders of the past who have been independent, and there's nothing wrong about it. But if you want to bring some beauty to life, why not be solo? But yes, there are moments that you have to have your space, you want to grow in your space, you want your me time. That's all okay, nothing wrong with it. But if we can try to introduce more life to our living, definitely we can learn from new things. Being solo, yes, you focus more on yourself, you focus on your skills, you focus on what you're learning. But at the end of the day, that also comes from people. You are solo, but you want to eat a lovely biryani, you will still go to a restaurant. You are solo, I want to do a solo trip, but you're going to go to an airport full of people, a plane full of passengers, you're going to go to a hill or a mountain with hundreds of other travelers. End of the day, you still have people around you, no matter how solo. You may be living alone in an apartment, but you have hundreds of other apartments as neighbors. End of the day, people will still be around you, whether you like it or not, unless you go to live on Mars all by yourself. Till that happens, I don't think we are really solo.
Right, you just have given me the biggest aha moment in my life. And I've always thought that I am a solo traveler. I love traveling and I love my solitude sometimes. Although I'm a human-centric being in HR and it's the passion of mine. Yet I've always thought about, I've never looked at the angle how much I'm passionate to go and meet new people.
Correct.
People I've never met before.
True.
And I've always connect with them and talk to them. And you just put it right there, like in my eyes. So let me ask you another question.
Please.
In your perspective, what breaks relationship more? Ego, fear, or lack of understanding?
I would look at more as communication. Lack of communication, or none of it at all. Because once communication is not there, then everything falls in place. Ego falls in place, fear falls in place, and they start to control the situation. But if you have communication in relationship, in whatever type of relationship, whether it's colleagues, whether it's family, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's someone you just meet on the street, any kind of relationship needs a healthy communication. And in that communication, you need clarity. Once that is there, things will fall better. Otherwise, something else will fill the gap. As you rightly said, ego, fear, and many a misunderstanding, confusion, uncertainty. There are so many things that fills the gap. And once that happens, then it becomes a survival. Am I scared? Am I hurt? Am I worried? I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future. So many things come. But once you have communication, that changes everything. I'll give you a real life example. Last month when I came back from India and during our Middle East crisis, I was trying to board the flight. And we didn't know whether the flight is going to take off or not. So a simple question, when is the flight going to take off? We don't know. The moment they say we don't know, that creates uncertainty. Oh, so we're not going to have a flight today? Same question asked. Are we going to miss our flight? Then the fear comes in. Are we going to reach in time? So just with one answer, I don't know, ended up with hundreds of other worries. So it's all about communication. Once we landed in Saudi Arabia, where is the bus? We don't know. Oh, again. So we're not going to get a bus. We're not going to have anything. What time does the bus come? We don't know. Miscommunication creates a lot of trouble.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is what's required for a successful communication, a successful relationship. Communication.
Clarity of communication. That's really like the blindfolded the seven men and the elephant, and everyone have like described what they're touching as something else.
True.
And those games that they play when they stand in a queue and everyone is just communicating another story to the other person, and at the end, when it reaches the last one, it is complete, total
Different
mess.
mess.
And this is what happens in our real life.
Real life, and when we connect with relationships, we are not clear, we don't have the clarity, and we don't communicate. Sometimes intentionally. We intentionally may not communicate because of past fears, because of past traumas. So that's what's important. Keep it very, very clear.
Yeah.
And that can change everything.
Yes, I agree on that. Like I started this year working on my development and studies, and imagine that I had a talk to my family and I told them that this year I'm gonna be super busy. So I demand complete understanding. I'm not gonna be there all the time for the gathering. And they're supporting me for it.
Yeah,
and in
because-
fact, it's giving
correct.
and in fact giving me the time to sit with them.
True.
It's all about communication.
Because you gave them clarity what to expect.
Yeah.
So now they know. And they know also for how long. So they're like, okay, let's help her for this period of time. And that's what the benefit are that you're getting out of it. You made it very clear. Communicated well.
What advices would you give people about maintaining relationships and maintaining connectivity with people?
Life is about cups and how you fill it. When you have a connection, when you have a relationship, when you have a bond, it's not a one-time thing. Yes, I have friends who I don't meet for 3-4 months, and suddenly when I meet them, like, hey, it's okay. Everything was like normal. But what happens over there is people miss out on things. And yes, we refill that cup after a very long time. People have different types of cups. Some need it regularly, some need filling after some time. Some can survive without it being filled for so. So everybody is different. How you communicate, how much you are in touch with that person, how often do you have intellectual discussion, whatever the relationship needs to be consistent to that person. If that consistency of communication, that consistency of meeting up, that consistency of trying new ideas. I have friends where we only focus on intellectual discussions, and that fills our cup. We're happy with that, and we go home satisfied. But then if you don't do it after a very long time, that cup is empty again. Unless you have other friends or other connections that can fill it up again, great. If you don't, then you start wearing out. And like, oh, that friend is no longer giving me time or giving an effort. And that's when you wonder whether this connection was strong enough. Now you have to ask yourself, do you fix it? Do you repair it? Do you try to make amends? Or you just get another connection? It all depends on how strong your relationship is, how strong that connection, how strong that bond is. And it needs consistency. It's very, very important for any connection to continue for a very, very long time. Otherwise, it'll die. Maybe a painful death, maybe a slow death, maybe you might not even know, and you realize, oh, I haven't spoken to this person for last 5 years. Wonder if he or she is still around. And that's why consistency is very, very... It's how the concept of social media algorithm works. On the pure basis of consistency. And that's what it picked up from the human world. We need that too.
Sometimes it's hard for people to appear in their authentic selves or vulnerable. And for others who are trying to connect with them, they find it difficult. How do you really break that, that pretentious attire and indulge more into the person? What tips would you give people to connect on that level, on the soul level, on a deeper level?
It depends on person to person. Everybody has a different variance of acceptance, tolerance, how much they need time with each other, whether as a relationship, as friends, as colleagues, and so on, that they can break the ice and be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the most ultimate place where people feel fully comfortable in what they share, what they discuss, what they do. But to reach there, it varies from people to people. But it's not like you can't reach there. You need to have that trust of how the benefit of each other's cup, each other's knowledge, each other's thing that you're giving to each other is met. It takes time. It's a long-term thing, whether even if it's a business discussion, to reach a point of vulnerability that, hey, I can put this on the table as a business, whether it's investment, whether it's operational knowledge, whether it is success or anything more that comes with it, it all depends on the trust factor. But to build that trust, it needs time, it needs effort, it needs how much this person is willing to come to keep this connection strong. And as it grows, because for some, it's quick, some will take years, some may not have open at all. They're like, this is the boundary that I'm keeping. It all depends from person to person. It depends on the strength of the connection. It depends on how you are. Like, I have a lot of followers, for example, on LinkedIn. I am not vulnerable to all. I look at how far we can grow, how far I can meet them in person, how far I can resonate with common grounds with each other. And that's when we'll define a stage where I can be open, I can be vulnerable, and I can be true to myself and to the other person. That's how it will grow.
This brings us up to our last question. If someone wants to improve how they connect with others, what is one uncomfortable step that they should take?
Well, there are many, but the most uncomfortable step is to get out of their comfort zone. If they feel that there is this event, for example, and it has nothing to do with them, like for me, I'm not into cars. I like different types of interests. But one day I said, okay, let me go for this car event. There were a lot of racers, bikers, people with amazing jackets. To stand there and have nobody talk to you was a validation that this is not my comfort zone. I should go back home. But then I stood there and I asked the questions. What do you guys do? What car is this? Why is it so special? And at the end of the day, I made a couple of new friends who I'm still very good friends today with. And that has made a new bond with a bunch of new people in a new industry. And I like cars today. The most uncomfortable truth is to come out of your comfort zone. Yes. And that is where you will realize that you can really, really explore new things that you never knew that you either liked or was fond of. And take that step and you'll see wonders in your life.
That's really an excellent advice for the audience. And I really can resonate with that. You know, not to bring profession here, but when I was an engineer, I still am an engineer, but when I shifted the profession, like, I mean, during the time that I was practicing engineering, I used to go into our plant, you know, it used to be a chlor-alkali plant. And instead of focusing on how the machineries are, you know, working and the volumes and things, I go to the people, our employees, and I start to talk to them. What's good about your day? What's happening for you?
Correct.
Are you feeling good? How do you feel about your job? And this is what gave me the shift in mindset that we need to find what really resonates with us in connecting with people.
That's true. Very true.
Finding the right spaces and the right people.
Correct.
As they say, you know, go to places that resembles you. You will find people like you as well.
True. That is so true. And unless you take the first step, you may never find those people. So it all depends on you. That's where you start, and that's where you'll find what you're looking for.
Thank you very much for this insightful conversation. It has been truly human up. Thank you, Ray.
It's an honor. Thank you so much. Looking forward to many more amazing sessions.